century, the management of human resources. Chapter 9 of Management, an Integrated Approach. Managing Human Capital. Learning Objectives. Number 1. Describe how human resources management can be a strategic asset to an organization. Number 2. Outline the processes by which an organization plans for, recruits, and selects employees. Number 3. Explain what organizations do to nurture and cultivate employees. Number 4. Describe how various contextual forces impact the management of human capital. Number 5. Explain the role that individuals can and do play in shaping their own careers and personal development. Potential test questions. Answer true or false. Question 1. Most people overestimate how well they perform on the job. Question 2. Conversations about employee feedback and compensation should be separate. Question 3. Once employees have mastered a task, they perform better when they are told to do their best than when they are given specific, direct performance goals. Question 4. Mentoring programs have no effect on individual career success. Question 5. Companies that screen job applicants for values have better retention and success than companies that screen job applicants for intelligence. Question 6. The best predictor of a new employee's success in a company is his or her past experiences. Question 7. A star performer is less likely than a non-star performer to change jobs. Question 8. Team-based compensation programs are better than individual-based compensation programs. Question 9. Most companies carefully plan their human resource needs well in advance. Question 10. Voluntary employee departures hurt the company's bottom line. Introduction. During most of the 20th century, the management of human resources (HR) was about hiring employees to perform a task, compensating them fairly, and providing job security. Today, HR management still supports these functions, but its scope has greatly expanded. In an increasingly competitive marketplace, firms compete not only for customers but also for the best talent. There is a growing recognition that employees can be key to business success. For some businesses, their collective reservoir of human capital is even more important than their financial capital. Retaining these critical human assets can be challenging in a context where employees frequently change employers. How do companies get their most valuable talent to stay with them as long as possible, and how do they get the most out of those who stay only for a short while? Progressive organizations view HR not as a cost to be minimized but as a valuable resource that can be optimized and can become a key differentiator and competitive advantage. Just like financial capital, human capital can reap tremendous rewards through investment, nurturing, and cultivation. In a similar way, without nourishment and care, human capital can wither. Companies that invest in human capital often appear on Fortune magazine's Great Places to Work list. Each year, employees from over 400 companies participate in a survey co-sponsored by the magazine and the Great Places to Work Institute. The survey measures employee engagement and satisfaction as well as the overall conditions in the work environment. Employees who complete the questionnaire provide information related to their attitudes about their management team's credibility, their job satisfaction, and workplace camaraderie. Companies also provide information about their culture, including their demographic makeup, pay and benefit programs, philosophies, methods of internal communications, opportunities, compensation practices, and diversity efforts. 2/3 of each company's score is based on employees' responses on the questionnaire, and 1/3 is based on the company's responses to a cultural audit. The companies with the top 100 scores are designated as the 100 best companies to work for. Companies such as Google and Wegmans Food Markets routinely appear on the top of this list because they recognize the strategic value of HR. Google provides its employees with first-class dining facilities, gyms, laundry rooms, massage rooms, haircuts, car washes, and dry cleaning services. The company is often cited not only because it offers competitive pay and numerous benefit programs, but also because it supports unique programs. For instance, CEO Larry Page donates $50 for every 5 hours an employee volunteers for a not-for-profit organization. The company even sponsored a group of employees to work on community projects in India and Ghana in 2012. Wegmans also rewards employees with opportunities for growth. Each year the company provides nearly $4.91 million in tuition assistance to enable employees to expand their repertoire of skills and knowledge. As of 2014, The company awarded $95 million in scholarships to over 30,000 employees. The company states, at Wegmans, "We believe that good people, working toward the common goal, can accomplish anything they set out to do. We also believe that we can achieve a goal only if we fulfill the needs of our own people." Similarly, Edward Jones has appeared on the list several years, because of its commitment to employee development and growth. Even in the midst of the financial crisis, Edward Jones has focused on retaining employees and investing in personal development. In fact, during the height of the Great Recession, Edward Jones continued to provide profit sharing and did not close any of its offices. In this chapter, we outline the ways in which companies build their strategic HR capabilities through planning, recruiting, and selecting. In planning, a company compares its human resources strategy with its financial resources and organizational structure to forecast how many employees it will need and what roles they will fill, and once human capital has been acquired, a firm must then turn its attention to the management of its human capital. To that end, this chapter discusses the various ways in which firms manage their human capital, including the design and delivery of training programs, the utilization of performance management systems, and the need to constantly monitor the internal and external environments to ensure that the right resources are deployed in the right way. Ultimately, the responsibility for an individual's career rests with himself or herself. The time an employee spends with a single company is getting shorter and shorter, and you will most likely have multiple jobs at different organizations across your entire career. It will be important for you to know how to manage yourself so that you can pursue a career that's best for you. One company that has created interesting career paths for its employees and has fully embraced the notion of HR management as key to their success is Zappos.com. Zappos.com, having sold his first company to Microsoft for $265 million in 1999, 25-year-old Tony Hsieh launched Venture Frogs, a venture capital investment fund. One of his most promising investments was a little-known, but growing online shoe retailer called Zappos. Created in 1999 by 27-year-old Nick Swinmurn, Zappos was originally named Showsit.com, but Swinmurn quickly changed it to Zappos because he thought that it would be easier to remember and was similar to the Spanish word for shoes, zapatos. When he launched the company, there were more than 1,500 retailing sites that sold shoes, but within 2 years, Zappos, with Xi's investment and managerial advice, had taken the lead as the largest online shoe retailer. Zappos's success was attributed to two primary factors: its unrelenting focus on customer service and its deeply rooted, employee-centric culture. In fact, the two were intertwined. Since its inception, Zappos sought to mitigate some of the potential disadvantages of buying shoes online. Fit, style, functionality, and price were the four common factors that consumers considered in buying shoes. To address these concerns, Zappos offered next-day shipping and free returns on all its shoes, which allowed consumers to try on their purchase in the comfort of their own homes. Zappos also offered more shoe styles than any other online or offline retailer. Most important, Zappos provided relevant, timely, and effective customer service through its website and call center. Zappos's wide product selection, fast shipping, and expert customer service allowed them to charge full prices for its products, which was a key advantage in supporting a cost structure that was focused on high-touch customer service and extensive employee development. Hsieh decided to formally join Zappos as co-CEO in 2001 and became the sole CEO by 2003. Swinmurn stayed on as chairman for a few years but eventually decided to move on to other entrepreneurial ventures. As CEO, Hsieh championed the company's focus on employees with a special emphasis on happiness. Alfred Lin, Zappos's chief operating officer, agreed, "We only hire happy people, and we try to keep them happy. You can't have happy employees without having a company where people are inspired by the culture. We view this as a strategic asset. We have 1,200 to 1,500 brand relationships and a good head start against the competition, but that can be copied. Our websites, policies all can be copied, but not our special culture." Hsieh believed that the company's special culture enabled it to provide the type of customer service that set Zappos apart from other online and offline retailers. To solidify his commitment to employees, Hsieh promoted the development of Zappos's 10 core values by soliciting input from everyone in the company. While its first core value is deliver well through service, other values include build a positive team and family spirit, be passionate and determined. and be humble. Ch believed that there was a direct correlation between employee happiness and productivity. To that end, he encouraged his employees to spend 10% to 20% of their time socializing with team members outside work. 11. Ch believed that if employees built personal emotional connections with their co-workers, they would model that behavior with customers as well. By building these connections, he hoped that employees would be more willing to collaborate, to solve problems, and to brainstorm new ways of serving the customer. Employees were expected to bring their full selves to work, not to separate their home life from their work life. Zappas's third core value is create fun and a little weirdness. This value is reinforced in the company's hiring practices, starting with the employee application, which included a crossword puzzle, maze, and cartoon graphics. During the interview, applicants were asked to name their personal theme song and rate themselves on weirdness and lucky scales. Zappas sought employees who considered themselves somewhat weird, not too weird, and very lucky. The recruiting manager noted, "If someone rates herself as being on the high end of the lucky scale, then she is probably going to be the type of person that we are looking for, who will be creative, adventurous, and can think outside the box." One sure deal breaker in the hiring process was the core values. The core values were not just words on a document, they were embedded deeply in the culture, and prospective applicants were expected to embrace them. Ch commented, "We are willing to hire and fire based on whether people are living up to our core values, independent of whether they are doing their specific job function well enough." In 2014, Zappas scrapped the traditional process of posting job openings on such career management sites like Monster.com and CareerBuilder.com. Instead, job applicants must join Zappas's private social network called Zappas Insider to be considered for a possible new position. Zappas employees interact with potential job applicants through this social network to better understand if they will fit with the culture of the company, and if so, what type of role would make sense. The Insider network also allows the applicant to have a better sense of who they will be working with and what will be expected of them. Regardless of the position an individual was hired to fill, all new employees underwent an extensive orientation program that required them to spend time answering customer service calls. In fact, this was one way of assessing a candidate's humbleness. If a finance manager or high-level supervisor balked at answering the phone, it was an indication that the cultural fit with the company may not be right. Zappas was so committed to hiring the right employees that it offered them $2,000, no questions asked, at the end of the 4-week orientation program to leave the company if they so desired. While very few individuals took the offer, it was a quick way to assess new employee commitment to the company and its core values. Once an individual passed through the 4-week orientation program, they were required to take an additional 200+ hours of training each year. Some of this training included new skill development on topics such as communication, conflict management, and coaching, and some of this training focused on softer topics such as happiness and the search for meaning in work and life. Zappas's deep commitment to employees produced strong results. The company grew to over $1 billion in retail sales in less than 10 years, and 75% of its business came from satisfied repeat customers. Amazon was so impressed with Zappas's results and focus on customer service that it acquired the company in 2009 for approximately $847 million. Ch has stayed with the company through the transition and has been allowed to operate independently. Since the acquisition, Zappas has continued to be listed on Fortune's Best Companies to Work For list. Case in point. Zappas 1. What is the secret to Zappas's success? 2. What is your assessment of Zappas's recruiting practices? 3. What type of employee would be successful at Zappas? 4. Can the Zappas approach be copied by other companies?